So our next guest is Michaela Walker. She's from the KU Med Center, part of our CTRN group, Clinical Trial Research Network. She is awesome. I don't know if you've met Michaela before, but she's the coordinator for the MOVE and MOVE Plus study. That's a really important study that really needs patients of all ages, all various levels of FSHD progression. Currently, the only study taking pediatric patients under 18.
Wow.
Critical that we fill that piece of the cohort out and get younger patients in to start to, why am I saying it all? I'm gonna let her tell you all about it. I'm queuing it up for you. But I'm super excited for your conversation with Michaela. She's coming in,
yes.
And she and the whole rest of the team over at KU Med are just rock stars. And I see it. She's thinking about joining. Here we go. All right. We got to get some sound and some video from Michaela. She's working on that. I'm going to step out, let you two guys talk. Hi, Michaela. Good to see you.
Hey, Michaela.
I was just saying how awesome you are, and I'm going to let you guys chat and go get our next guest while you guys talk about MOVE and MOVE Plus.
Yeah. Well, welcome back, Michaela. I know you've been on this platform with us several times and always doing great work and calling out to our community for help and also news of what's going on with the work you've been doing. So I'm just going to let you dive into it. We've talked a lot here already, which is the couple of guests we've had, with patient engagement, MOVE study, MOVE Plus. Tell us a little bit about, what's going on with that, updates to it. What do you need?
Yeah, so thanks, Tim. It's great to be back on the FSHD radio. So the MOVE study is still recruiting as well as the MOVE Plus study, and this is a study for everyone who has FSHD. It's meant to include those who have type 1, those who have type 2, children with FSHD, participants who may be in a power wheelchair, things of that nature. So it's really the first study of its kind that it's allowing all individuals with FSHD to participate. And this is really important because we've never really looked at these other FSHD participants. Really, the participants that we've been looking at before have just been adults with FSHD type 1 that are 18 to 65 that can still walk. So it's really important that we're able to really capture the entire FSHD community and that we understand what everyone's disease looks like, not just a select group of participants for clinical trials. So I really want to encourage the community. This is the time. There's a lot of new drug studies coming down the pipeline, which is really, really exciting. But getting involved in something like MOVE and MOVE Plus is a great way to get involved with your community, stay up to date with the trials coming down the pipeline, and also it gives your neurologist kind of an idea of where you might fall in one of those drug studies and if you would be a good potential. Because drug studies are not for everyone. They're for a very select group of FSHD participants. So really it's just a way for you guys to take your own health back into your hands and ignite the community and a way to stay involved with your health.
Yeah, because we've been talking about the MOVE study for a while. We've been trying to get people involved with it. I think sometimes people either get a little apprehensive for a multitude of reasons, one of which is they don't know how to make that first step. And I know we've talked, and I'm probably asking the same questions again, Michaela, but I need to get people to understand that we need them. We need their help, and I know you're doing the same thing. And I always believe that sometimes if you can guide people, what's that first step forward, and then it'll just start to go and make things easier. They're a little apprehensive, like, what do I do first? So what would be the first step?
The first step is probably talking with your local neurologist and letting them know that you want to get involved, because sometimes there are things locally that you can really easily get involved with. The next step would probably be getting involved with an FSHD Clinical Trial Research Network site. You can find all of our site contact information. We have a website for the FSHD Clinical Trial Research Network. My email is usually pretty available on the internet as well. So really the first step is getting in touch with your local neurologist and then trying to find a participating site close to you. That way they can get you some more information. So then you can decide, do you want to take the next step or not?
And when you're doing this MOVE study and you're saying, talk to your neurologist first and then, find the CTRN, those are easy steps. And then it kind of starts taking a hold of its own. You know, it's you just kind of get yourself out there, and then the system and how things are working to get people involved just kind of take a hold. And it's just letting everybody know I'm interested, I want to do this. Just make that contact point. It sounds like is really the first big step. That's
definitely the first big step. And then
what is the benefit? Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, the next step would really, once we know you exist, then we can reach out to you and we can provide you information with the MOVE study, the MOVE Plus study, and really any other clinical trials that are at that site that is close to you. So a lot of times what we'll do is the study team will actually have patients meet with the doctor for a quick phone call, just so that they can go over basically what all of the studies are. That way, if they have questions, they can kind of decide to pick which one might be the best for them. Because the great part now is that patients are going to start to have options for what they want to do. So really just getting involved or reaching out, and then we will try to help guide you to what might be the best study for you, and really just making sure you know what all of your options are, and then you get to make the educated choice on what you want to participate.
So this study is really kind of filling in a lot of the gaps, right? There's a lot of underrepresented, groups and 18 years of age and under. So this is really important that everyone gets involved and not think, well, I don't qualify, and make that presumption.
Exactly. This study, and it will be really important for when hopefully these drug studies are successful and they go to the FDA to get these drug approved. Hopefully, since we're having a really large study with trying to capture the whole population, then these therapies will be approved for everyone. Because sometimes what can happen is if you only do trials in that very specific population, when a drug gets approved clinically, only those people who fit into that group can actually get the medication. So by having this really large, broad study, it also gives us kind of ammunition for the insurance game that we might be playing, 5 years down the road, 3 years down the road, when hopefully these drugs are approved and people are trying to get them in the clinic from their neurologist. So that's also why this study is so important, is because it provides that potential opportunity for the future.
Now, how long, how many visits does it take, or what's kind of that process? What's the commitment, right? That's probably the other hurdle. People are like, I don't know how to get started. And then once they do, okay, what's the commitment here? Where do I have to travel, or what do I have to do?
Yeah, so no, that's a great question. That is probably the biggest barrier. Luckily for this study, we only see you once a year, basically. So there's 12 sites right now in the United States, and there's 3 that we're opening up in Canada. So if you can make it to one of those 15 sites once a year, that's basically the commitment, is that we want to see you at one of our sites once a year so that we can do all of the testing. So that's really the commitment. For drug trials, that it can be a little bit more of a commitment. We might want to see you every 3 months or 6 months, but for the MOVE study, we just really want to see you once a year.
So, I see my neurologist once a year.
Exactly.
We want to get the baseline, so everybody kind of understanding what's happening here. This is kind of killing 2 birds with 1 stone, right?
Yeah, exactly. So if you just see one of our neurologists at one of our 12 sites, which a lot of our patients do, we combined it with their just regular muscular dystrophy clinic visit. So it is kind of 2 birds, 1 stone. So that's something that we've done as well. So hopefully that kind of helps lessen the barrier of coming once a year to see us. Especially if you're already coming just for a regular doctor's visit anyways, and then you just stick around for the extra testing.
And the kind of things that you're going to have to do when you go to one of these visits, is that at all scary for some people? What physically are they going to have to take on?
Of course. So it can be maybe a little bit intimidating. I like to think it's pretty much like a regular doctor's visit. So the first thing that we'll do is we will consent you to participate. So we're going to make sure that we go through all the paperwork and that you understand the study. And then after that, if you decide that you want to do the Peter Jones saliva spit test, we'll collect the spit test. If you decide you want to do the blood draw, then we'll also collect the blood draw. It's like 3 or 4 tubes of blood. We're also going to do some different questionnaires for you to fill out. There's 6 questionnaires, it's about 8 pages in total. You're going to do a physical exam with the study doctor. And then probably the biggest and longest piece is all of the different testings that we do with our physical therapists. It's about maybe an hour of testing, maybe an hour and a half with the breathing, just depending on, how quickly and familiar you are with it. So you'll do different manual muscle testing. with your clinical evaluator, which is like when the doctor has your arms, come up here, pull, push, make a muscle. You'll do that with the PTs. You'll also do some different timed function tests, like standing up out of a chair if you're able, walking a few feet, turning around, going up and down stairs if you're able to do that. And then we'll also do some breathing tests. So really, we just try to capture as much as the individual is able to do at the appointment. So if you are a patient who's in a wheelchair, obviously we're not going to be having you do the stair test because that's probably something you're not comfortable with. Right. But we would want to collect the breathing tests and really as much information as we could because it's still very important.
So have you personally then been able to interact with those that are participating in the Move and Move Plus study?
Yes. So I've had the pleasure of actually running some of the visits as well and helping some of my counterparts. So the visits in total for Move take about 3 to 4 hours. And then if you want to do the Move Plus study, so Move Plus is the whole Move study, so about 3 to 4 hours. And the plus is that we're doing a whole body MRI. We're doing the reachable workspace, and then we're doing a one-time muscle biopsy. So that's Move Plus, which is the regular Move study, but then it's basically optional to do this MRI muscle biopsy study.
And when you're doing it annually, are you repeating, like if you did the Move Plus, are you doing that annually?
Yes, sir. So basically all of the visits right now for the study are annual. So you would complete your baseline visit, then you'll come back around 12 months, and then we'll just keep seeing you once a year for the study until we stop doing the study.
Yeah, and that's probably a good news, I would imagine, when that happens. Yeah. So what's been kind of the feedback then that you get from those that you've worked with, patients that you've worked with? What's been the response kind of when they're done? I'm sure you've had those that have been apprehensive, but then they sign up and then they're a participant. And then what's been kind of the feedback after?
I think patients sometimes are a little apprehensive, and I think that they surprise themselves about maybe I hate to say how fun it is getting involved in research, but I think they also surprise themselves about what they find out about themselves. Because really engaging in research is really engaging in your health. And so I think that they discover a lot about their disease and how it's changing. And maybe sometimes in the clinic, they do things that they haven't done before in a while just because they feel like it's a safe atmosphere as well. So there are some times that will have patients try to do the 4-stair climb just because they want to try it. It might not be something that they do typically, but they like to kind of push their limits and see where they're at. And they feel like it ends up being a comfortable, safe place to, try these things, learn these things, ask these questions as well.
Right. I think it opens up this amazing opportunity that you're participating in something bigger than yourself. Of course, you're being part of this community even more. And I love the fact that you used the terms a safe place. I mean, this is a safe place. You're around professionals that are looking out for you. And I've had that same feeling, where when you're part of a study, you feel that good. I'm doing something good beyond me. And I did an exercise. It was in University of Minnesota, and I had to do some exercises. And they told me I have to stay within this parameter on the treadmill. I'm like, oh boy, okay. And I found myself pushing harder because I knew someone had my back. I'm like, there's no way. And all these, scientists and medical professionals around me, they're going to let me fall down. So I'm just going to push it the best I can and so forth. So I love the fact you brought that safe environment feeling to the table here.
Yes, no, that's exactly right. And I think that patients, again, they really surprise themselves by sometimes how much they can still do or how hard they can push, which isn't always our goal in research. Like
right. No.
Sometimes it is to see how someone maximally performs, but we do want to create a safe environment and also an environment for you guys to be able to ask questions. I find that during a lot of the functional testing with our physical therapists, that's when a lot of the questions start to come up.
I bet.
Yes, about how do I go about doing this in my daily life? And do you have any, advice, tips, tricks, things like that?
And how about the connections afterward? They come once a year. You still get feedback, emails, correspondence, from the patients that you've seen?
And it's really important to keep that connection, especially since we're only seeing you guys once a year for this study. So I do try to make sure that we're reaching out to patients periodically. We also send like a newsletter to our patients quarterly, so a few times a year, just to be like, hey, you know, thanks for doing the study. Here's where we're at in the study, so you can kind of see, just so patients still feel engaged. But it's really important to keep that relationship open.
And so you mentioned that too. Where are you at with the study now, with the numbers of participants? Where are you at with your goal?
So we are about halfway to our goal, which is really exciting. So we decided to expand the study this time last year. So right now we have over 230 patients, and our goal is 450 patients. So we're about halfway there, which is really exciting. And we've already had more than 80 patients come back for their annual follow-up visit. We have 12 children enrolled to date right now. So it is really exciting just to see the study take off, because it's really only been up and running for about a year, 18 months. So I'm like,
that is exciting. Wow.
Yes, keep the fire going. FSHD community, we can do it. I fully believe that we will fill this study quickly, and it's going to be really powerful for everyone.
And there's information, honestly, guys, everywhere. I mean, I Googled the FSHD MOVE study. That's it. I mean, boom, the link is there. There's blog posts. There's Michaela's email. Like she said, you can find it pretty easily and get the ball rolling. Take the first steps. But I want to give you that platform, Michaela, to make sure that you're plugging the proper direction. Like if someone needs to get a hold of you, like right now, right? Boom, you're off the screen and they're like, I got to find this person. I'm motivated. I want to get signed up. Where do they go?
All right. So you guys can email me and I will get you to the best spots. So it's mwalker20@kunc.edu.
That's not hard. mwalker20.
Yep, at kunc.edu. That's my email. So, and you can find it on clinicaltrials.gov. That will show all the US sites, and it has the contact information for each site on there.
No excuses any longer. We're halfway there. Let's push past through this. Next time, Michaela, I have you on, I want you to be saying, we're full. We did it. We got the numbers. I just want to say thank you and congratulations. And that really should be the next conversation, right? I mean, you've worked so hard getting people to know about this, working so hard within it, getting people involved, going through the process. Thank you for doing that. All the hard work that you're doing for our community it is seen. I see it. I know you're working hard, and I appreciate it. I know the community does too.
Well, thank you guys, and thank you to the FSHD Society for having me. And all right, community, let's fire up. And this time next year, hopefully the study will be full.
Sounds great. That's our new goal. Yep, ring the bell. All right, thank you, Michaela, very much for joining us today. Yep, take care. Oh, wow. We're halfway. I don't understand why we're not pushing the line all the way through. I know that people want to get involved. They want to be active more and more and more. Light the fire. Michaela has said it. She's giving you the challenge that we can get to that point this time next year. Come on.
Absolutely.
Lee, you posted it too on the comments on Facebook there.
Got a blog post, another video if you missed any part of what Michaela had to say. Tons of information on our website. But this study is this is one of those research studies that lifts all other studies. And some of the other clinical trial studies, they have really limited inclusion criteria. This one does not. So now is the time for folks to step up. But I'm going to give an extra plug to our younger families, because this is a very important study for pediatrics. We'll hear more about that later today when we have Allie and Kristen on. They are just banging the drum like crazy to get pediatric patients involved in this study. But we need younger folks that are less impacted as well. What happens a lot is folks get the initial diagnosis, they come to us, they find us, they want information, and then they want to leave and say, I'm doing okay. I don't want to live in my FSHD all the time. That is completely understandable and reasonable. Nobody wants to have this constant reminder. You want to go live the fullest life you can. So we know that's a huge ask to say, come and be in the research, come be present in it before you start to feel dramatic impacts on your life. I don't minimize what that ask is at all, because I get it. I don't have FSHD, but I have other things in my family, and I relate to that feeling.
Yeah, I totally agree.
But there is such opportunity right now to, if you're willing to walk in that a little bit and you're willing to be in the mood study, you're willing to be on we are sending out really important surveys and studies from us and from other people all the time. We need answers from a wide variety of people at different levels of impact. And the majority of people who are really active engaged are further along in their progression. We skew older, because it started to come back around. It started to really impact their life in a way, and they say, okay, time to get off the sidelines, and now I want to do something. And the truth is, we need you before then.
Yeah.
We really do. And when there was not much happening before in terms of real progress, I get it, but there is real progress that will speed up, that will go faster, that will increase the pace of discovery, that will just make us all wiser and smarter and get us to that first treatment, and then the next and the next, if people will step in.